Welcome to the Breakup Recovery Podcasts by your host, Barbara Stevens. Discover the wisdom and remarkable insights of Barbara Stevens, Breakup Recovery Mentor, author, and public speaker. Barbara offers programs and solutions for any breakup so you can turn your life around, create lasting changes for the better, and embrace life again.
Hello and welcome to my podcast, Breakup Recovery. I'm super excited because this is my very first episode and it's episode number 000. Who, what and why. In this very first episode, I'm going to let you know who I am, what I do, why I do what I'm doing, and what I offer as a breakup recovery mentor. At the end of this episode, I will let you know what Breakup Recovery Podcasts will all be about, how often you can listen to them, and their duration. I'm Barbara Stevens, and I mentor women who've experienced a relationship breakup. They seek to work with me because they feel stuck and don't know how to move forward. These women may not be able to see a clear path ahead, or perhaps they are feeling overwhelmed and don't know how to get over their breakup. Some of them just want support to overcome their anxiety. We work together over a 12-week period to develop practical, straightforward strategies and techniques to improve their outlook on life. Well, that's my 30-second pitch, but you may well ask, what is my story? Where have I come from? What have I done? And how can I help you? And what will Breakup Recovery Podcasts be all about? So I'll start with my story. Of course, you'll be hearing my side of my marriage breakdown, and as usual, there is another side that is true to the other person, and that would be my ex-husband. I was married for over 20 years to a man that I met not long after I finished school. I was engaged at 19 and had just turned 20 when I married, and looking back, I was too young to be a bride, but I was desperate to get away from my home life and took the first opportunity that would make that happen. My mother had died when I was 9, and my father was on to his third marriage by then. I have 4 sisters, all younger than me. I remember on my wedding day, in the car on the way to the chapel, my father said to me, was I sure I was doing the right thing? It was the first time I had pondered that question. I walked down that aisle in tears. I knew deep down that getting married on that day was not the right thing for me to be doing. But I went ahead with it anyway. I felt that I could not pull out now. There were so many feelings and emotions running through my body on that short car trip. I don't know if I was embarrassed or I hadn't fully processed the truth that my father had made me realize after his question. Maybe I felt guilty that there were all those people in the church waiting for the ceremony to start, and I didn't really have an alternative, so the marriage happened. Over the years, I made the best of it. I immersed myself in my children's well-being and their activities, my sporting life and working career. I think when my youngest daughter was coming to the end of her high school education, I reevaluated my marriage and decided that my husband was not the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. I was not in love with my husband. I stayed longer in the marriage than I should have. And looking back, I left the marriage on an emotional level about 5 years before the actual breakup. I can't say that there was one thing that caused my marriage to break down. I do know that I grew as a person during my married life, and my husband stayed exactly the same in his thoughts and beliefs since the day I had met him. During our marriage, usually when we had our arguments, he would often say that I was not the same woman he had married. I would try and suggest some books that could open his mind, get him to see that there were other alternative and different ways of looking at things. I remember reading a lot of Louise Hay and Wayne Dwyer books that exposed me to a different way of looking at things, but he wasn't interested in extending himself or looking inwards and finding solutions. He was a very on-the-surface sort of person and still remains this way today. And just after listening to myself just then, maybe, just maybe, I fell in the trap of trying to change him. It was my decision to leave the marriage. We were both unhappy, but it came to a point where I couldn't live with the situation any longer. When I was leaving the gym one afternoon, I had that aha moment that I could no longer live in a loveless marriage and I had to make a move, otherwise I would continue to live a lie. I was so paralysed by the decision that my marriage was finally over that I couldn't go home. I sat in my car sobbing. I rang a friend and we went for a walk and talked through all the options. My husband wanted us to attend marriage counselling, which we did, but it was obvious from our joint sessions that our marriage was in fact over. One of my children came with me to my new home and the other one had already moved out, but still blamed me for breaking up the family unit. It was a very turbulent time emotionally. I was frightened and scared for my future. Remember, I had gone from living at my family home when I was 20 years old to living with my husband. I had led a very sheltered life. I had never lived with anyone else, nor had I travelled. In fact, I was naive in every sense. This would be the first time I had been alone. Well, not actually. I had felt very alone in my marriage, especially the last few years. Even though I was the one who wanted out of the marriage, the actual breakup hit me hard. I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't think clearly, I cried all the time. I was a complete mess. I suffered from anxiety and remained almost housebound until it was time for me to move out of the marital home. I had no idea how I was going to cope on my own. I was depressed and mourning the loss of a lifestyle I had had for over 20 years. I did not think I was capable of thinking for myself or making decisions, so I know how hard it is when you are going through a breakup, separation, or divorce. I know that your mind is overloaded and you struggle to think clearly. You feel overwhelmed and alone. You feel anxious about your future. You experience mixed emotions and often have a feeling of being stuck and not knowing how to move forward. You can easily spend each day going over and over what went wrong, what you could have done, what you did do, what your ex-partner did or said. And when you're with friends, that seems to be the only subject you want to talk about. You go over and over what happened. Of course, looking back, this thought process is a complete waste of time. There is nothing you can do about the past. You can only change the way you move forward into your future. And I will go more in depth about this subject in upcoming episodes of Breakup Recovery. We all do it when we go through a breakup, and I'm quite sure you are sitting there nodding your heads at some of the things I'm saying, and remembering how you were feeling when you first broke up with your partner. How many hours did you go over and over what went wrong with a friend or a family member? It can be all-consuming, and the subject of your breakup is the only one you want to talk about and tell to anyone who will listen. If it wasn't for the help of friends and family, I think it would have taken me a lot longer to transition from living a married life to being single. And for me, it took some time to embrace single life. I'm naturally a shy person. I'm the one at parties that sits in the background and listens whilst others freely talk and socialise. When I engage in a conversation with someone, I'm the one that asks the questions, and I am more confident listening to others than talking about myself. So it took a lot of effort on my behalf to get back out there. My confidence and self-esteem was low. I was lonely and felt sad that my life was changing. I was used to helping others and felt uncomfortable asking for help. But I did ask, and I did receive. It is amazing the people that come into your life when you need them. I slowly got my life together. I learned that being single did have its benefits. I worked through my problems and issues and survived the whole process. It was during this time that I wanted something good to come from my breakup experience. So I set about developing my 12 inspirational step program to help other women through this stressful time. It was at this time that I also interviewed 12 remarkable women for my book, and I will talk about that later in this episode. So what I love to do. I love working with women who have gone through their breakup by helping them regaining their confidence through my 12 inspirational step program so they can embrace life again. I offer straightforward strategies and practical techniques to improve their situation, especially when they are stuck and don't know how to move forward. I work one-on-one with my clients, and they come from all over the world, most of which live in the US, UK, Australia and New Zealand. I work with them once a week over a 12-week period at an agreed time, usually over Skype, a great way to connect. The sessions usually last between 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the individual needs of each woman. I love speaking at events where I can share my insights on how women going through our breakup can create lasting changes in their lives for the better and create positive actions and healthy habits to enrich their lives so they can move forward. I love delivering workshops and working hand in hand with women to facilitate and motivate effective outcomes. This includes brainstorming, interactive learning, building relationships, and problem solving. I love to interview women who have been through their breakups and have arrived safely and intact on the other side. Women who have heaps of knowledge and tips for others that may be going through the same situation. In the near future, I will be adding these interviews to my podcast, Breakup Recovery, so you can hear useful strategies and techniques from women who have been there and done that. I also have a book titled You'll Be Okay, 12 Inspirational Steps, 12 Inspirational Stories. The book is divided into two, the 12 Inspirational Steps and then the 12 Inspirational Stories. After nurturing friends and family through trying and difficult breakups, including my own, I decided to design the 12 Inspirational Step program to overcoming relationship breakups. Instead of writing a book that promoted divorce advice or attempting to dissect the cause of divorce like many other books, I aim to give women the tools and ideas to start their positive journey and to move forward after their breakups. The 12 steps in my book are a sneak preview to the full course I offer that assists clients in forming and implementing strategies to get them through each day. The second part of the book is the interviews, a collection of 12 inspirational stories from women who have battled and survived their own breakups. For most, comfort can be found by listening to the experiences of others, by knowing you are not alone and everything will be okay. The 12 inspirational stories gives women the opportunity to share their experiences, coping strategies, lessons and advice. I have kept the stories small, about 2,000 words each, and the reason for this is I remember helping my friend through her breakup. She felt isolated and didn't really know anyone else who was going through what she was going through. I looked for a book that would help her. I knew she couldn't read a long and in-depth book. She wasn't up to that stage of rediscovering herself with all the self-help books that are on the market, but I couldn't find the right one. So I really got the idea from my friend. I wanted to find a way to share what other women had gone through, their stories of their breakup, what they did, how they felt at the time, what their challenges were, what they learned, how they got through their experiences, and what they could change if they had the chance to do it all over again. I also wanted to share their coping strategies so that other women could relate to their approaches, identify with some of their issues, and find answers that they could use or try. My passion for listening to and resolving other people's problems has stemmed from my time working in the community services industry. I worked extensively with students to place them in school-based traineeships and apprenticeships for a not-for-profit organisation. I then assisted the students to complete their Certificate 2 over 2 years. I have a Diploma of Applied Science, Community and Human Services, and I am passionate in my resolve to help others deal with their issues and live life to the fullest. I don't profess to be an expert. I just want to be known as someone who helps women to get over their breakups so they can embrace life again. I have a Facebook page, Barbara Stevens Breakup Recovery Mentor, where I try and post every day. Each week has a topic and I share ideas, strategies, tips, articles, quotes. I ask questions, interact and connect with women who are still struggling or have struggled with their own breakups. I also have a Twitter account, You'll Be Okay. I really struggle with this restrictive word count, so I'm not really good with this social media platform. I post a blog each month on my webpage, barbarastevens.com.au. You can read these and my other services that I offer, as well as a free ebook you can download. And my new venture, my podcast, Breakup Recovery. So I'll be launching 2 episodes of Breakup Recovery today, and then 1 episode a day for the next 4 days. After that, all going well, I'm going to release one episode every week. The first 12 episodes will be information on the 12 steps I've used in my 12 Inspirational Step program. From then on, the episodes will be subjects I have found useful for women going through their breakups, and I'll mix in a few of the interviews I have done with some amazing women who have gone through their own breakups, so they can give you their insights and ideas that you might be able to use in your own situation. If you want to be part of my podcast and have a story you feel could help other women, shoot me an email through my website or Facebook. At this stage, the length of each of the episodes for Breakup Recovery Podcasts will be between 15 and 20 minutes long. I think that is a good length to listen to when you're going through your breakup. If you are anything like me, any longer than 20 minutes is too hard to concentrate, and any shorter, valuable content would not be shared. I want to make sure I'm giving you valuable information that is honest and straightforward. I want to give you key skills and strategies and tools that you can take away and implement them in your lives now and start to make a difference in the way you think and act now. I am committed to assisting you when you are going through your breakup, when you are feeling lost and alone and don't know where to turn. I want you to regain your self-confidence. I want you to rebuild your life through empowering and inspiring changes to enrich your life for the better. I hope you've enjoyed my very first episode of Breakup Recovery. I hope that you have an understanding of who I am, what I do, what I offer, and what the podcast Breakup Recovery is going to be all about. I encourage you to subscribe to Breakup Recovery and share this podcast with other women you know are going through a breakup and struggling and might need support. And the last thing I'd like to say is, be gentle on yourself. You deserve happiness.
If you would like to hear previous Breakup Recovery podcasts, visit barbarastevens.com.au. Connect with Barbara Stevens on social media with Barbara Stevens Breakup Recovery Mentor on Facebook and at You'll Be Okay on Twitter. Read further blogs, view webinar replays, and download your free ebook, 3 Easy Steps to Surviving Your Breakup, and much more at barbarastevens.com.au.